Yeehaw! Back with another episode of the Real Life Caddie podcast.
We're back
From a very rainy Monterey.
Oh, God, it's been monsoon. Actually got called off the course yesterday.
Can you imagine? I saw that text message.
I saw the writing on the wall. They called us in for half an hour. We got in. Greens were absolutely flooded. There was no way we were playing. I'm like, we're going to get sent home. And sure enough, 20 minutes later, sent home.
You were sent home? You never went
sent
back
home.
out?
Never went back out. 8 holes.
And did the players go back out?
No, heck no. No. They canceled the round of the tournament. It's a 4-round tournament with a cut. They decided to shorten it to 3 rounds.
Love it.
Yeah.
Live golf. We're also joined by a former podcast guest, all the way from Scotland, Mark Craney.
Craney's back.
Hi guys, good to be back.
You brought the rain. It was absolutely beautiful till you turned up in the country.
No comment.
Michael, it's been a few weeks.
It has been a few weeks. This is episode 2 of our new season, and been a few weeks. Lots happened in a few weeks.
A lot of people were very happy that we're back.
Yeah, I got a handful of texts. It's good to hear your guys' voices and good to have you guys back. So good to be back, telling stories.
I got a bit of a head cold, so I might not be talking as much today.
Shocking.
A lot of people might be happy with that.
Yeah, instead of one Scott, we had to bring 2, so to fill up the dead air.
That really was that was the idea, was get Big Mouth on over here. He's always got a comment to make about something.
Perfect.
Yeah, true. I can handle that.
Now, last time we were here, Mike, it was the week of the AT&T. A lot of people were asking if you would be in a Chipotle coma.
So the last 2 years with the elevated event, they've kind of elevated their food. No Chipotle. As soon as we finished that last podcast, I ran right over there. I was getting texts from different caddies. You know, they have the pulled pork, they have the, whatever, and ran over there. And breakfast had just been switched over to lunch. It was good. They had this brisket. It was unbelievable. I was there. No dinner, but certainly breakfast and lunch every day. I made a point to make my way over there. They had a lot of good stuff. Captain Stoker, local coffee shop, they were there too. So I had a latte or 2 every day.
Captain what?
Captain Stoker Coffee. They have like
Captain
3 or 4
Stoker
locations out here in the Monterey area. Very
I tell
good
you
coffee.
what, Zabbo's going to be drinking free coffee off of that one.
He just sponsors Dream, this guy.
Yeah.
That's funny. Mark,
Yes,
you
Gordon.
carried on tour for a long time.
Shit, we did.
What's the best food you've ever had on tour for the
That's a
caddies?
good question. You've seen it all, Mark. What's your best location?
Best food. Italy's really good for the food.
A lot of pasta or not so much?
Yeah, Parma ham, pasta, chocolates are nice.
And they bring that into the caddy tent?
From time it all depends on the sponsor that week. It changes from week to week, year to year. In Europe, obviously in America, these kind of guys strike up maybe a 4 or 5 year deal, and it's probably quite consistent. But in Europe, 1 year the food can be poor, next year the food can be amazing. It just all depends on the venue and who the sponsor is.
Yeah.
I'd love to know the other events if they've gone cheap with like they did with the Chipotle. I much preferred it 5-6 years ago.
I thought Chipotle was like high class, is it not?
Sir, I agree, Mark. It is high class.
Yeah,
I love it.
I think Gordon's changed a little bit.
He has.
If you're used to eating dog food,
I can just Gordon's from a place called Maybo, right? Right, where spam was like caviar.
Yeah.
So I don't really should be commenting.
And
but,
your haggis, yeah, exactly. Chipotle
Exactly.
is delicious.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad we have Craney here. Thank you, Craney.
Exactly,
Yes.
mate.
if you're used to pedigree chum or eating kibble, Chipotle is an improvement.
Well, they changed it now. I'm telling you, they had different things on the menu every day, and not only that, like we're eating there, a handful of resort caddies. We're eating, and I'm like, well, where's the trash cans? And then guy comes over. He's like, I'll take that, sir. Sir, wow. I'm like, sir, get out of here. We didn't even have to clear our own food up. It was crazy.
I do remember the first AT&T I did years ago. I think it was 2007 or 2008.
Until you got banned.
It was there was a white tent that you could fit about 15 people in, and there was a box of donuts, and the donuts would still be there from the day before. It was rubbish.
So 15 people before you then.
The floor was wood chip.
Yeah.
So how things have changed.
Things have changed for the better. More money being infused.
How was your week? Did you win it again?
We did not win it. We came almost dead last, but we had fun. I mean, it's kind of a diminished tournament now for the AMs because it's 2 rounds. I mean, there's no cut. There's 2 rounds, and then it's just pros only on the weekend. But he did win it twice, obviously handicap tournament. He realizes he really should not win it a 3rd time. It would look really bad if he did. So he's there to have fun. He's happy to be invited, and we had a good week.
If he wins it a third time, he might not get invited back. That's
Correct,
kind of
yeah,
the way it goes.
He'll get invited back.
Who is it you carry for, Zabbo?
Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And he likes playing. He enjoys it. He enjoys the tournament, the camaraderie. We have a lot of fun up there.
I've actually met him at the Waste Management Pro-Am one time.
Yeah, he's always there. He's from Phoenix.
Yeah. And the women love him, do they not?
Oh God, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. That was the guy.
It's funny if you look at the women, like you're walking along and you're looking at the women in the crowd. You know, you watch their eyes, and invariably they're all just staring at his butt because he's got like a huge butt, huge thigh. So all the women, you just walk around and look at the women, and you see where their eyes tend to gravitate towards. It's
I can relate with that with the big butt. But I remember I've actually been out of his group. I was working for Till Hatton at the Waste Management, and we played with Larry Fitzgerald. And he had white shorts on, and the women, and he's got the slim legs at the bottom. Mm-hmm. The women were loving him, man.
They do,
yeah, they do love him. Yeah, so there you go.
Was he playing with Kevin Struhlman, Zabbo's boyfriend? How did you sleep that week? Because you usually share a bed with Kevin.
It was a rough week. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought you were walking a bit funny when you came in here.
Comforted yourself with the caddy hospitality.
I did. It was good.
But from a caddy point of view, it was just a nothing event, really, isn't it? It's really
it doesn't. It has a different feel to it. It's not as fun, you know. The fan base for that tournament typically is there for the celebrities. They're not there for the golf. They're there to watch celebrities hack it up and play golf. They're not there to watch professional golf.
Yeah.
The dynamic is changing that because now it's an elevated event. You got the top 80 guys in the world, and it's good for the golf fan, but it's way more serious. Nobody's having fun. I mean, we were having fun because he's just the easygoing, fun guy. But everybody else, they're playing for a ton of money, and there's a lot of pressure. So they're not having fun like we typically do. Like with Streelman, he's played with him every year. So yeah, we yuck it up and we laugh and we have fun. We had Doug Gim was our player. There was no, laughing. Yeah, exactly. You know Doug.
I know Doug actually. He's a hell of a nice guy.
He's a very, very nice guy. But we're not yucking it up, telling jokes back and forth with Doug Gim. I mean, it just wasn't happening.
Yeah. Okay. What else has been happening? You've been working a lot at the resort?
Have been working a lot. I mean, after the AT&T, get right back into the grind of the normal resort golf. And, we talk about the different people we meet. We meet so many different people. And I had like 4 loops in a row where it's like, wow, this is a great podcast story. This guy is crazy. Like this one guy, it was him and his wife. They were on a corporate ticket, but they weren't with the corporate group, but they were on the corporate ticket. And, she goes, actually, I was doing a single. She wasn't even playing. And she told me, she's like, he's a really good golfer, just so you know. I roll my eyes like, oh, he's a really good golfer. He's really going to wow me today. What's he like
That's funny, because I just came in town a few weeks ago, and Natalia told me he was a really good pool player. And that shows you what women know about sports.
Wives and their husband, they always want to brag on the husband. Did you go down to wax him
misogynist?
At the club?
Yeah, like good. Like there's only one person telling her that he's good, and it's him.
That's funny. So, anyways,
don't butt in. It's very rude. You haven't got any more polite.
I like it.
Animal.
It's accurate. Wives do tend to boast on their husbands. So I'm like, all right, I'll be the judge of that. So he's playing, bogey, 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 par, bogey, bogey, double. And he's very angry about it. We caddy for these people. They come out here, they pay money to play, and they get so angry at how they play. Very, very angry. And he's like, I'm a 5 handicap. This is BS. I should be doing this, and I'm doing that. And I'm not making any putts. And I'm like, is that a dig on me or what's going on? So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go all out. I pull out the yardage book. I give him front edge. I give him pin. I give him adjusted. I give him every number. I'm like, I'm going to tour caddy this guy. He's so mad. And he makes the turn at 44. I'm like, I'm going to caddy to the best of my ability, not make a mistake. I'm going to read every putt from both sides. And the guy went out and he shot 33 on the back 9. And he's all of a sudden super happy. Like, I love this game. You're a great caddy. I'm a good player. And it's like if the dude is playing terrible, he's miserable. I hate that about the game of golf. Like, you're out here at one of the best places in the world and you're absolutely miserable playing the game. And he was. And then I was like, I'm going to flip the script on him. He's got to play the game, but he played on the back nine. 33, and he went 44-33. It was unbelievable.
That's a good turn in events there, to be fair. But to be fair, if he's got his wife here, I'd probably be pretty miserable on the golf course if I was trying to with my wife. Sorry, ex-wife.
Ex-wife.
No. Actually, that's funny, because there's another one. It was a couple of days ago, and there's 4 dudes, and one girl walking along, and so the gal walking along with her, husband / boyfriend, they have matching sweatshirts on, and they have little gal shirts. And I look at him, I was like, "Hey, you and Cindy," I go, "You guys aren't married, are you?" She's like, "Actually, no, we're not." I said, "Yeah, because no wife would actually wear no husband would wear a matching shirt." I was like, "You've been dating what, 6-8 months?" She goes, 9 months actually. I'm like, "Yeah, that's about right." I said, "All three of you guys are married, right?" They're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Your wives are all here, aren't they?" "Yeah."
At the spa.
They're back at the hotel spa. I'm like, "Yeah, there's a reason." It's so funny.
It still blows me away. Why would anyone actually want to go and watch
and it's not
golf?
it's not like the weather was that nice either. She was just walking along. It was funny. She was funny, but yeah.
Now, Zabbo, I'll tell you one I'd written down. Some guys that did have a lot of fun were the Donnelly brothers.
The Donnelly? I know a lot of Donnellys. Which Donnellys are we talking about?
John, Eric, and Mark.
The Donnellys, yeah. Those were actually the Donnellys I was thinking about. Yeah,
exactly.
Those Donnellys. Well, I don't know if you remember this one, but on the fourth hole, we've seen everything in the golf course. If you've been out there for 20, 30, whatever number of years, you think you've seen everything. We're on the fourth tee. Craney, you'll love this. And I think it's Eric. We're waiting in the group ahead, and he's kind of like fiddling around in his bag. And then he looks up at me, and then he sprays a little. It looks like a little aftershave spray,
like a little cologne spray.
Yes, but he's spraying around about his bag, and I'm thinking,
so it's not the typical poop spray. Then if you spray in his bag, oh, is it?
No, he's spinning it around the bag.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, "What's that?" And he goes, "Oh, nothing." And he tucks it back in his bag. So of course, what do? You take a step in to look.
Oh no.
And he'd actually, it's fart spray. It is
potent.
Putrid. It was horrific, right? Worse than anything you could ever produce.
I don't know about that.
Trust me. And it sticks to you, doesn't it? Do you remember this?
Yes, I do.
So
I was actually on this loop.
You were there. Yeah. So he actually gave it to me. So of course I take it that next level. I start spraying down the flag sticks.
Oh, you did? Yes. Oh, God.
For the caddies in the group behind, so they would touch it.
Oh, good God! It lingers too. It lingers.
It was with me all day. That little smell that I walked
still
into,
is.
And the guys in the group behind actually said to me a week later, they're like, "What happened? Like, did you touch that?" What? I said, "I have no idea."
Did you not wipe your butt, or?
So I've got it in the workshop. You got to get it the right people.
Yeah, keep
it
in the
workshop.
He
played that absolutely fantastic.
I got another one. I was working with podcast listener Taylor Daniels. Actually, scratch it. I got another one. I was working with podcast listener Paul Bauer.
Okay.
And I'm working with Paul. He worked with this guy the day before. And then another one, it was corporate. So it was a single for me, double for him. I took a single paying double, as a lot of caddies tend to do when they're lazy and want to get paid more for doing less work. So we're on the first tee, and his guy, Nick, we'll call him, he takes like a 5 or a 6 iron at the wee course. So pretty decent par 5. Kind of, for him, ropes it, hits it like 170. He's hitting his 5 iron 170. And I'm like, grizzled veteran move. Good for you. Taking an iron off the tee, just kind of jabbing him. And he's like, "Yeah, Butch told me I couldn't hit driver today." And I was like, kind of roll it off like he's making a joke. You say Butch on a golf course, you're only talking about one guy, Butch Harmon. And so we're on,
or a woman. Yeah,
we're going through, and then he's pulling shots and doing this and doing that. And I'm like, "Oh, Butch wouldn't approve of that. Butch wouldn't approve of that." And then just because he mentioned Butch on the first tee. So we're on the 8th hole, and he takes out driver, and I go, "Oh, hold on. Butch said you couldn't hit driver all day. I got to call Butch." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I FaceTime with Butch this morning." I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, are you literally talking Butch Harmon? He's like, "Yeah, man. I just got back last weekend. I had a weekend with him, $12,000 for the weekend. I took some lessons with him." So he's kind of flexing, I'm taking lessons from Butch Harmon. And I'm like, "Dude, you're like," and up to that point, he striped his driver in his defense, so he hit a good shot. But up to that point, he was making like 6s and 7s, hitting 5 irons off tees. And I'm like, "You're spending $12,000 with Butch Harmon." So I was like, I got to get more info out of this guy walking along, because I can tell when you mention a comment like that, you want to talk about your money and what you have. So when you drop the number, I'm like, "So, man," I said, "back home, where are you from?" He's like, "Oh, I live in Texas." And I'm like, you got a pretty nice simulator set up at home, don't you? He goes, do I have a simulator set up? He's like, let me show you. And he pulls out his phone and he pulls out the TrackMan simulator. And he's like, see that putting green there? Yeah, I knew exactly what he's going to say. He goes, it's got actuators underneath. You know, you can change the slope and play any break you want on the green. I'm like, of course, bro. And then all day it's butch this, butch that. And I'm like, there's your types, man. It's another type of person we get.
Like a guy like Butch Harmon or who's another one? Hank Haney, he was a big coach?
Yeah, they're all treading on the fact that they each coach Tiger for a couple years and they make their whole careers on it.
But I guess that what I noticed, because I caddied for a golf coach this past week, and he is so technical and talking about wrist movement and where the shoulder should be and the arm. I'm just like, what are you talking about? For the people that we work for, you don't need that type of technicality.
The only thing you need is club face. Is your club face open or shut at impact? Where's your club face at target? That's all they need to worry about.
Yeah, the thing is, half these guys have their club face at address in the wrong position.
Correct.
How are they going to get it back to square? You know what I mean? Like simple basics, stance, ball position, grip. We had some guys the other day that Gordon had in town, and it was just simple things. Tweaking, it's amazing that these guys are paying all this money for lessons, and they're not getting taught the simple things.
They're just not getting taught.
But but they'll go and buy a TrackMan. Like, mate, you can't even strike it.
Exactly. That's my point. It's like you're a 25 handicap. You're buying a $25,000 machine, going to Butch Harmon, spending $12,000. It's like, come on, bro.
You should really be thinking about changing sport if you're off 25. I mean, like, never mind buying a TrackMan.
I mean, at least learn how to strike the ball. Maybe learn how to chip a little bit.
Do you think TrackMan and all that equipment's actually improved the quality of
I'll get
golf?
into TrackMan. I'm a big hater of TrackMan. Unless it's for testing clubs, I think it's good for shafts and testing certain things in games, like little games. But I carried for a pro on European Tour. I'm not going to mention his name. But I was out with him and his coach. I won't even say what country because it could backfire here. But he's on the TrackMan. Let's finish the coaches. His coachman's this kind of new coach, and let's finish the day out. You know, let's finish a great practice day with a day out on a little test on the TrackMan on the wedges, 20 wedge test. Oh, coach says with the last one, you get this one, you beat your record, and he beats his record. What do you think of that, punk, Mark? I thought,
not much.
Couldn't care less, mate. I said, there's no pressure. The ball's on a flat lie. There's no wind. You're not coming over anything. And he's got ball after ball after ball. There's no rough. You're hitting it off a perfect lie. So to me, it means nothing.
I've said that to people that always ask me about, should I get custom clubs? I says, well, you can if you want, but the problem with that is you're inside a very controlled environment on a flat lie. We're never, apart from the tee boxes at a really good golf course, if you're at a dump muni, you ain't playing on a flat lie on the tee box even.
Especially if you're off 25. You're not exactly on the fairway very often, are you?
And you're never on a flat lie. If you're hitting off a mat, the ball bounces. That you ever do that in Scotland in the winter, they'll maybe have you on the, if you ever go to the range, you warm up, the club bounces, it skips off of the mat.
It hides the chunk, doesn't it? Hides the fat.
It's the walking down the first shot in the first fairway, what happens? Chunk. So, because you've been bouncing it off skidding off the actual mat. So, I'm the same, but I don't think has the quality of golf really improved with all this equipment.
The biggest quality in golf is the TrackMans and all these things. They are time consuming. They're not helping the game. Take a lot of feel out of the game. I think a lot of players takes a bit of their imagination away. They're all sheep, mate. That's what they are. One gets one, they all get one. Cause one guy gets. To be fair, I've seen 20 TrackMans before, right? Nobody was talking about them until some guy who's a good player anyway without a TrackMan maybe wins a major. Right, let's buy a TrackMan.
Yeah, they all have them now. Funny enough,
you're going to sell yours now.
Exactly.
Don't tell me you've got one.
No, I don't. Funny enough, though, so we're at the range at Spy during the AT&T and warming up, and who walks up next to us? But him and his 28 people on his staff is
Hideki Matsuyama.
Correct. So
25 million shafts.
Exactly, and he walks up and he's got his caddy carrying the bag. He's got another guy carrying 2 baskets of balls. He's got another guy carrying his TrackMan, another guy carrying his Foresight. He has 2 different launch monitors. He puts them side by side, so he's not only getting TrackMan numbers, but he's comparing them with Foresight numbers. Because Foresight's, Foresight's like TrackMan's rival. It's the same thing. It's just it gives you the same info. And he's got 2 different launch monitors set up taking it's crazy.
Yeah, the thing with I've seen players do that, and I think the TrackMan's better at certain things because the TrackMan sits behind. It's better at certain things than the what's the other one called?
Foreskin.
Foresight.
Sorry, yeah, Foresight. yeah. Foreskin. I had one a long time ago. And then Then my mum said to me, "You're going to turn Jewish." I said, "What?" But never mind. But I do know certain ones, and the the flight scope one, you can even take on the course because it's really easy. I see guys out in practice round taking on the courses, which I think is not a bad thing because I do see some guys say, right, hit me an 85 shot, right, and then obviously it gives a little bit of feel and a feedback to a certain extent, but taking them on the course on a practice days are long enough as it is. These guys are obsessed with these little tweaks. Like, at the end of the day,
obsession.
It is obsession.
I don't think Ben Hogan would be approving of these kind of things, or Jack Nicklaus.
Agreed.
Like, play the game, get the ball in the hole, and lift the trophy.
Yeah,
exactly.
And as a caddy, you know what I mean? We as you guys know, your resort caddies got a taste for the little bit of tour and things like that. You've been around about it. You know, it's such a long... It's a boring game becoming.
No, it's so boring.
It's so
Very
boring.
boring.
Like, the fun's taken out of it. Like,
it is.
there's some player. Like, there's nobody really out there who has character. You know, people used to slag like guys like Miguel Jimenez, but he was fun. He reacted to the crowd. Bryson's about the only one these days who really has a relationship with the crowd, and I'm a massive Bryson DeChambeau fan.
Talks highly of you.
Yeah, probably does. Yeah, he does. And then you get guys who are just out there with a long face, and as you said, back to your resort caddy, like, maybe only get to play it once in their life, and they're miserable. Mate. You're not that good, but you know what? That probably says they're pretty miserable anyway.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Our favourite loops are going to be the boys that just go out there, don't care. They realise what their level is.
Yeah, drink and have fun, and
as soon as we meet,
it's an experience.
As soon as we meet someone that has a foreskin or a TrackMan, you know, just really boring. You've lost
I'm
me.
good then. I'm good.
Ta-ta.
fun factor's gone.
Bye.
Yeah.
Right, boys. My voice is going. I've only got so much today, so take a wee
Perfect.
break. We'll take a wee break, and then
That's
we'll
the
be back
best news I've had in a long
with
time.
mailbag questions. While you were playing the AT&T, I was down in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, how did that go?
Phenomenal. 3 days of golf in a row with some tremendous guys. Tremendous dudes. Guys that just love to play. And I'll tell you, Mark just said something about the pace of play. And there's a lot of talk still. It's like every year. It's just going to keep on going.
It's never going to. It will be. We'll talk about it in 20 years from now.
It was myself and Rye the pet guy went down. We played as a foursome at some country club on the it would be the Thursday. That was sweet. 3.5 hours. On the Friday, we played another country club where the pro got himself in some very hot water. Remember?
Oh yeah,
we played his course.
Yes.
We played with him.
Oh, did you? His wife's not listening to the podcast. I mean, we can cut that out, but
You never know.
So we played as a sevensome, right?
With this pro,
With the pro.
yeah, good dude.
This was a course where on the fifth hole, the guy went, here, look behind the tee box. There's like a pool house, you know, that you would expect all the stuff to, the filter and stuff for the swimming pool. Mm-hmm. It's actually a fridge full of beers, and then a bunch of handles of booze with mixers.
Nice.
And there's a little jar that you just throw money in.
Yeah.
And it's one of the members, it's his house, that backs up onto the fifth tee, and you just pour yourself a drink or take a couple of beers and then throw some money in.
Throw some money. They got a place like that at Pasadena out here too.
Yeah.
The guy who does that.
That was
the coolest
just
thing in the
wonderful.
world. Yeah.
We play as a 7. We play in 4 hours dead. The next day, we go to Concrete Ricky's club. Mm-hmm. We play as an 8-some. We finish in 4 hours.
8-some?
An 8-some.
Dang. That's hauling.
The quality of the golf was half decent.
Yeah.
But everyone just gets up, hits,
yeah.
reads the putt. There's none of this, oh, you go, no, you go, no, you go.
Ready golf.
Just batter on. So I would say Saturday was one of the best experiences of golf I think I've ever had. Just laughing, music.
Can you tell the course? What's the course? Can you?
It was a place called South Hills Country Club in
Nice.
Los Angeles.
Awesome.
And it was absolutely fantastic. So thanks, boys. Got a few mailbag questions here, lads.
Okay, shoot.
What's your favourite golf major of the year? That comes from Fred in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Hey, Fred in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Favourite major of the
What's
year?
your favourite to watch?
I don't watch any of them. But I would say back then on Sunday, Augusta's good, but my heart would have to go with the Open Championship.
Okay.
Yeah, crowd just get it. It goes from different course to different course over. It changes a lot. Masters gets a little bit repetitive. If you ask me.
In all fairness, three of the four majors, the course changes. So
yeah, but I'm talking about the Masters. I'm talking about my two favourite. Was that not the question?
Well, it was actually for Mike, but you kiboshed.
Oh, sorry, Mike.
It wasn't directed directly at me.
You didn't actually say this.
I was interested to hear Craney's response because I figured it was going to be the Open Championship, which I love watching as well. A little tougher over here because it's weird watching a major finish at like 6 a.m. So that's just weird. I personally
away with you. It's never that. Come on now.
Well, yeah. Coverage starts at for us like 6, so it's over by like 8:39.
Yeah.
But mine personally is the Masters. I love watching the Masters. I mean, it's really fun to watch the Masters on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something about Augusta, watching Augusta on TV, that just brings out the joy of golf.
I'd totally have to agree with Mike there. I think there is something about Masters Sunday, to be fair.
Depends who's in the...
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah, if it's got the top quality coming down the stretch, and there's probably no better finish, really. But
I thought last year's US Open at Pinehurst, when Bryson DeChambeau and McIlroy were going at it in the back nine, was the best finishing Sunday I've ever seen.
That's what majors are all about, and that's what you grew up and you've heard a lot of those, Joe and the Sun and things like that, and all the top players fighting out on Sunday, and I think that's kind of what you want to see, the top players, going head to head. I think Mickelson and Stenson, that was the best for me of all time. The golf they played at Troon, and I think it was 2015 or something. There's nothing like it, but I think Bryson and Rory was pretty similar, and no matter who came out on top, they were going to get a great champion.
I'm reading a book right now. It's very tough. One of the boys at the club gave it to me. He's friends with the writer who wrote it with Gary Player.
What's the name of the book?
Something about the best majors finish or championships, most memorable moments. It's painful because
most things to do with Gary Player are painful.
Gary Player's a bell end, in my opinion, right?
Caddie hater.
Won't get an argument out of us.
And he's not, the other guy's writing it, and he's obviously just sitting on the couch with a glass of wine, just mumbling on, right?
Talking about himself.
If you, it's so funny you say that, because it literally, he takes each major. So we're in the Masters, right? So I don't care about 1956 Masters champion. I don't know who these people are. I don't even care really about today's guys, because like you said, there's no personalities that you really shout for or get behind. He's a good guy.
Patrick Cantlay, man, go Patrick!
I met him once in the airport, and he was like, he signed my hat.
He said hello.
Guy. Right? It's just so. But there's so many numbers that he keeps talking about. How such and such was 5 under, I was 6 under. And it's just rubbish. But he does talk about certain, like Greg Norman lost a few Masters. Right,
or Nick Faldo won a few Masters. I'd prefer to say that.
Yeah,
but there's one where
Sir Nick,
somebody chips in on 11. Larry Mize chipped in on him, or the Scott Hoch missing the 2-foot putt.
Got choke.
What does TrackMan or any of the technology or any of this nonsense have to do with that right there? And that's the essence. I think all the technology is whatever. It's it makes them maybe feel like they're progressing, and it maybe makes amateurs feel like they're progressing, but you're
preparation for those big moments. But yeah, you're right. When it comes to those moments, there's nothing like the pressure of having to make a putt on Sunday from 2.5 feet that moves sideways in the Masters to hold the lead, to try to reclaim the lead, to tie the lead. I mean, there's no feeling like that in the world. And until you're in that spot, which none of us have ever been, you can't put yourself in their shoes.
You never know, Zabbo, you never know.
But you can't put yourself in those shoes. You can visualize what that pressure looks like, but when you're trying to win a Masters and have a 2-foot putt that moves sideways on the 16th hole, I mean, there's no pressure like that in the world.
All those guys are telling themselves in those situations is that they've done it a million times.
Exactly.
The word TrackMan ain't getting coming into their head. I can assure you for that.
For sure.
You've just got to stay in the moment, and as you said, the greatest guys can stay in the moment, and they trust themselves. They trust the reason why they hit maybe a few downhill left to righters, maybe hole 100 in a row, and they'll go back to a point that and they'll just put themselves in that moment, and that's what gets those guys through. It's the mental strength to not be distracted, stay on track, and do what you can do. And Tiger was the best. There's no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. I've never seen Tiger with TrackMan. Not saying he doesn't have one now. He probably does.
This book would suggest Jack Nicklaus was the best at it, but again, that's from wee Gary's point of view. But it's a painful read.
I think that's probably the only thing that Guy plays that I'd probably agree with. What I've heard is that Jack had the mental strength and the belief, and that was probably why he is the greatest golf. Well, it's hard to say on paper with his wins. You can't knock him. He is the greatest, but I think Tiger, for the impact he's had in golf, is
so there's two different things.
Two different eras, two different people, two legends.
Next question from a Dave P. in a place called Casper in Wyoming. What is the most important aspect of putting? The guys I play with all talk about equipment, but I'm not convinced. Most important thing about putting, boys?
Pace.
Speed. He's going speed.
Speed, pace. Without them, you can't hold putts. And how do you get good speed and pace? It's like anything. If you misstrike a putt, it's like misstriking a driver. It has such a big impact on it. People don't look at it like that. If you don't strike a putter well, it can come up 4 or 5 feet short from 20 feet. Same as a driver, you don't misstrike it. If you misstrike it, it can go way offline. So pace for me is the key. That's why I see all the best putters when I've been on tour. The best putters are the best pace putters. They get to the hole with the right pace for that putt, and they're never leaving themselves too much. Why do they have good pace? Because they have a good strike and they're getting out the middle all the time. And that sounds, people don't talk about that. Let's hit it out the middle of the putter. People don't mention that. It's just as important. It's got loft on it. It's a club that's in the bag, and they've all got a sweet spot.
It's very true. People mishit the putter. I think Eddie brought this up on the podcast. Is focus on your strike of the putter. Like, your strike is very important. You need to hit the sweet spot of the putter. Very few, especially people we caddy for, very few people do that. And they don't get the line. That's a big problem when you don't know the line. They don't get the pace, which you need the pace. And then,
well, for me,
the lines then it goes sour from there, because then they push it, they pull it. They very rarely hit the line they're trying to hit.
A good read from a caddy like you guys, and that is a waste without pace, the perfect pace.
Well, for me, I think alignment, actually aiming where you think you're aiming, because the most people we carry for,
they're clueless.
They're not. I always tell people, you could be the best pilot in the world, but unless you're aiming for Hawaii, you'll end up in LA.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So there's no point in hitting a cup outside left, but you're actually aiming at the hole.
Yeah.
You're never, ever going to make it. So that for me would be alignment.
Alignment's massive. A lot of players, and a lot of amateurs as well, like they think where they aim the body is where they should be aiming. No, you've got to put a line. You've got to think like where your body's lying to the club head. It's a path that comes to, they meet at a certain point down the line, and that's what creates the accuracy and the pinpoint position. But so many amateurs are aiming left and aiming right, and they have no clue where they're aiming. Especially with putting, I see some guys with putting, and they're like, man, you're not even close to where you should be aiming, but they don't see it.
Well, Dave P, you still should get out and get a new putter, because all these big golf companies need money. They're all struggling.
I mean, the lab golf. I tell you what, I will agree with the lab golf.
Putters. Horrible.
Best putters ever made. I mean, I've seen so many good people, not good people, but golfers that we caddy for putt really well with those lab putters.
I would like a urine test over here. I think Zabbo's been on something this morning. He's talking
Pass
nonsense.
It over.
This one is from a Stephen Keane. He's in Madison, Wisconsin. I started playing golf for fun 4 years ago. I am tempted to enter some competitions, but nervous. I'm a 21 handicapper. Advice, please.
I'll give you some advice. A lot of guys started off golf as a 21 handicapper, or even higher. You've got to start somewhere. Don't be nervous. At the end of the day, being nervous is not a bad thing. Top golfers in the world get nervous, and that's a good thing, I think. But you know what? To come over nerves and make things easier when you get in situations for tournaments and things like that is to just forget about whatever people's opinion is and whatever people are thinking about you, because they'll probably be in the same place as you. Even a scratch golfer you could be playing with could still be more nervous than you, but it's how you show it. But you just need to get over that nerve factor and be brave and enter the tournament. What you got to lose? If you're not in it, you can't win it.
Yeah, I mean, have fun, enter the tournament. But if you come to realize tournament golf is not fun, just go back to having fun. A lot of the people, like we talked about, they got out there and they have no joy in the game. Like, have fun. You start playing poorly. I mean, if you're not having fun entering tournaments, just go back to the basics. Go out there, hit the ball, and have fun. Golf is about having fun for the average player.
100%. Golf for an amateur. If you're not making a living at golf and you're not having fun, take up another sport.
The majority of golfers should improve. Actually, no. Your scores might go up because you might actually have to play by the rules and you might have to learn the rules.
Correct.
So, Craney and myself were playing pool last night down at the club.
Here we go. We're back on pool.
And there's a guy we play with. He's up there all the time. He's a complete pool pervert, right? But we're playing doubles. And
you and Craney are partners?
Me and unfortunately. Horrible. The dynamic duo, absolute dung.
Well, but wait a minute here,
there's another lad, Scottish lad.
Bring me down to your level.
And myself and he play a lot with this other lad, the third. And this guy, he touches the ball all the time. So, but he never calls it himself. And I think it's because he doesn't actually know that that's a rule. I find it hard to believe.
Touches the ball with his hand or the tip of the cue?
Or the tip of the cue or something like that. And it's not his ball. And last night he hit this shot and then his follow through knocked another ball underneath and it bounced off the cushion back to, and he went to hit the shot again. And I went, well, that's surely a foul. And he went, no, it's not. And he's arguing that it wasn't a foul, right?
He said, well, I can just put it back.
I'll just replace it.
No, you can't do that.
So that's a basic that, again, how many people actually know the rules? If you are going to go and start playing tournament golf, you need to know the rules.
That's a good point, Gordon.
If you know the rules, breakfast ball does not exist. So the 5 you made in the first is a 7.
Yes.
So you will become a better golfer, but your scores might not straight away start coming down.
Yeah, because your scores are realistic then. You're not kidding yourself on. You're not, as Gordon said, breakfast ball or mulligan, all this rubbish. You don't get that in tournament golf. And I'm not really into all that, like have another go. Like, I'm a caddy when it's just slows play down even more.
Well, I always go back to Eddie, and Eddie doesn't ever take a gimme. And I've started doing that myself now.
I
don't take gimmies. Yeah. I just make them because you know what? If someone's asking for a gimme, it means they don't have the confidence they can make it.
Correct.
And if you can't make them over and over, now, again, pace of play is one thing. Listen, and again, but we're so fast at playing golf, just get up and hit it.
Yeah. There's a gimme and a gimme though, isn't it? Like, if you're going to stand in somebody's line, like if it's in a foot and a half,
you don't have to think about it and you go one-handed and you're going to nudge it in.
Course, if you're not asking for it, and quite often you just go up and hold it. The guy will say it's good, you just hit it off the pin and it goes in.
There you go.
But you're right, you're only going to get better. It's got a good point that Gordon made there was that if you're walking up and you're looking at a guy thinking, is he going to give me this? If that's the case, well, when I see that in match play or that, no, mate, you're putting that. Because quite often they'll miss that one because their tensions are up already. They're already thinking about missing it.
100%.
Ian Coleman, he's from El Dorado Hills in California. He says, what is the best piece of advice you've received in your golfing career? That's a good one, Matt. I like that.
Well,
I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nothing. I've never listened to any advice. Self-taught.
Yeah, I'm with it. I don't think anybody's ever said anything to me that I've taken to heart as far as my golf guy. I go out and have fun. That's all I do, and I don't care about anything else. If I'm not having fun, I just won't play.
What, when you're shanking?
I stopped playing.
I remember before a final I played years ago, I was blocking everything right, and my dad had a look, and he just said, "Oh, you're just a fraction too close to the ball." Came half an inch back, and it was boom. It was fine. That's not really advice, though. Yeah. So that was just a wee tip. But I've never really had a formal lesson. They tried to give me a lesson, and they said, "Oh, your right hand's too strong." I was like, "Well, it seems to be doing okay."
Yeah, I'm not changing that.
So I don't think guys that are in the game all their life. I don't think I can't. That's a really good question.
It is a good question. Nothing comes to mind for me. I've never gotten a piece of advice that really changed my golfing life.
And as Zabbo said, it's have fun, man. You're only an amateur. You're an amateur. An amateur. You're not making a paycheck for this. Okay, so have fun. Don't get frustrated. You're not good enough. Don't break clubs. You're not good enough. Don't swear. Well, you can. I don't mind a bit of swearing, but
it's so funny because you want to see him growing up playing golf. By the way, because
little anger,
he could have taken his own advice.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I was just, but that's not because of bad etiquette. I was just a really, really fierce competitor, and things didn't go my way. But I got to a level that I was a decent golfer. I could be a little bit competitive. But you're starting off.
We once went for a game of badminton. right? And he had no racket. So I was pretty good at badminton, and
he was actually. That's something he actually. I can back up. He's actually as decent.
So I'm just playing with him. I'm toying with him like a cat would a small bunny, and I'm hitting it to the back and I'm hitting it to the forward, and he smashed the racket to pieces. Right, right. So, but you know how with a racket, the part that goes round is like it's in 4 pieces, but the string keeps it together. And he goes back and hands it, and he says, "This is malfunctioned. It didn't work."
Wasn't anything to do with lack of talent. No, it was definitely not.
So
that.
on the golf course, who would win between you two?
Me.
You guys have good matches there.
Me.
No, if I would say Gordon, I would say
We're going to go out this week and play.
I would say
You should join us.
I should.
We need a rematch.
Oh, you want to? Gordon did lose the last time he played.
Gordon would always say he's going to win everything, right? And but that's good. That doesn't bore me.
So Gordon,
because he doesn't win it much.
We had this long-standing. Let's have a match, Gordon and I. Oh, I'll take you down. I'll take you down. So I went out and I beat Gordon, and Gordon goes, "Yeah, but I played bad." I was like, "What are you talking about? You played bad. I beat you."
But that's Gordon. That's Gordon in a nutshell.
Right. If you don't believe you're going to win, what's the point of going out? So
100%.
anyway,
we're going to have a rematch.
He's got this philosophy of a lot of things. I will trust me. There's a lot of things.
Bullying. This is called bullying right here.
But
last question. Back to that question.
Zabbo, who would win between us two? I would say it would be very decent nip and tuck. A long golf course, it's through the air. I would say it would suit him. But you get him fiddly and under a bit of pee, he's got no balls.
Last question. How long does it take for a caddy to learn a golf course? And that's from Johnny B in Boca Raton in Florida.
Well, if you look at some of our caddies, it's been 30 years and you still haven't learned it. I'm telling you, we have some caddies 30 years and you're out in the greens with them and you're like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, it's like 2 feet out left. And I'm like, it's like a right edge putt. And you're like, you've been out here 30 years and that is clearly not going to move left to right. It's like right edge. And they're feet on the wrong side of the hole. So it depends on the person. I mean, there's caddies who've been out here for 25, 30 years who have no idea about these golf courses.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. I think guys can come out, who just have a vision for the game, and that's when you have to play golf. You've got a vision for it. I think you're always learning, but I
would say that as well, yeah.
I don't get I think you can never know enough, but sometimes too much you can overcomplicate things as well, like learning a golf course, like all depends on. I think it all depends on the person you're carrying for. Like you can know a course so well, but some of that information is not needed for certain golfers. It's only going to make it complicated.
For sure.
But yeah, you're always learning. But you're right, Zabbo. Guys, I know the same guys, people like that. You've been 30 years, you've getting this line wrong, and you're just hoping that one day something's going to change.
Exactly.
Because it ain't happening.
Yeah.
Well, where we work, you really just have to have a backbone, and it looks as if it goes one way, but it doesn't. So
it doesn't. Yeah,
you stick with it. It's like there's one at number 4 in the wee course, and it literally looks as if it's going 1.5 feet from right to left, and it doesn't. It goes the other way.
Yeah,
and every single
back
time,
pin,
you're like, no, listen, hit it here.
It's learning from maybe giving misreads.
For sure.
Yeah, you've got to learn from mistakes and note them down. Like those guys, obviously, you mentioned there, are still, the penny's still not dropping. Like I know I've got a lot of good information now when I've been on tour from courses because I've been in the wrong position and now know, fuck me, I messed up there. Do you know what I mean? But you have to learn from that. But guys who don't learn from it, so you're always learning. But learning from your mistakes is not a bad thing. So don't be scared. Have a backbone. Be brave. And
And I tell that to good players a lot of the time. Like when I'm out on a certain green, I'll tell them, this is where most players miss it because this is what it looks like it does. But it doesn't do that. It does this. And they're like, well, it does look right to left, and it's not. And I'm like, oh, you were right. Tell them what they probably see and then what it really does, and they learn to trust you.
Because you've been that person. You've been that guy, you've been there. But you're like, you know what?
You've made that bad read,
100%, mate. We've all done it, apart from Gordon.
How long you been at the wee course?
17 years.
Aye, so it takes at least 17, probably 18.
I'm not there yet, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
Well, how many years you been there, Gordon?
The one thing I got a lot of emails and comments about was the TGL, when we spoke about it, and every single one of them was negative. Nobody's
watching.
Nobody's watching. No one thinks there's a future. They think the product's garbage, and everything we said, everyone agreed with. And I would say that the people that listen to our podcast are pretty much like golf pervs to very enthusiastic golfers. That's their core sort of audience, and it's not resonating. So
No interest. I have no interest in watching that on Monday night or whenever it's on. No interest.
You could go to your boy in Texas and watch him in his simulator.
Exactly. That'll be a lot of fun. Talk to Butch on FaceTime.
Any shout out, boys?
I got to shout out a guy I caddied for this past week, Mark Domain. He's going to be a podcast listener. Great couple of days with him, and yeah.
Well, I'm just new in the kind of the Monterey, Pacific Grove, Carmel area, and I've been lucky enough to start doing some loops, shadow loops. That is, somebody who had my experience, I still have to shadow loop. That says all about learning, which is fine with me. You got to know the course, you've got to know the way they do things. I would like to say that I've been really overwhelmed by Cypress Point Golf Club. It's got a big place in my heart already. So I would say Cypress Point
doesn't have a heart.
Yeah, that's true. But I must admit, you're in golfing paradise down here. Do you know what I mean you've got 4 or 5 courses? I think you can see from that area that are maybe the top 100 in the world. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So shout out to this area of fantastic golf courses.
I like that. Shout out to the peninsula.
The peninsula. That's the word. I don't know how you spell it, but that's the word, peninsula.
I got to shout out Northern Irish Dion. He was here.
Dion, love Dion. Yes,
great lad. He came out. He quit the bar. He's quit the bar job and he's gone into some sort of construction in New York. So
Dion, there's another condo for sale out here. Dion, you said you were thinking about moving out. There's one right next to us. Come on out.
His wife kiboshed that.
Yeah,
and she wears the trousers.
Come on, Dion, get out here.
The Donnellys, of course.
The Donnellys, love you, Donnellys.
Old John, Eric, and Gay Mark, and then all the LA crowd I was with a couple of weeks ago down there. Phenomenal time. And also a new listener, Marcus Coleman. He's one of Adolf's friends.
Adolf.
So if you have any questions, comments, send them in, podcast@glorifieddonkey.com, or you can follow us on one of the social media platforms. Just search for Glorified Donkey. You can also support us if you go to the website, buy us a beer. Just follow the link on there. It's on the Twitter account as well. Boys, Craney, thanks for your time.
No problem, pleasure.
Good luck with the caddying. Zabbo, as always.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rain today.
Is it going to rain?
Oh, it's raining right now.
Damn it.
But yeah, we'll see you in a couple of weeks for another episode.
Yes, sir.
To all the listeners, thanks for listening. Get out, enjoy your golf, but more importantly,
keep it humble.